Ramondo, thanks so much for joining us, mate. It's been a long time. I think actually you was one of our first three, was it, Jake? Podcast five and a half years ago, that was.
Yeah, episode 5, I think it was. Yeah, 2018. Last year I had you on here, Ray. January.
Wow, 5 years ago. 5 years.
If I remember rightly, you was out in Sicily then. You're out in Sicily now. You was out in Sicily, but when we had you on before, you was walking up in a mountain in the pitch black. I'm sure you mentioned having a sawn-off on your back just in case or something.
It's funny out here. It's probably an age thing, Spence, but when I was a kid, I was frightened of the dark. I was terrified of the dark. And what I did one night, I was sat in the middle of a room, right? Turn all the lights off, just sit there all night and go over.
In the dark?
Yeah, in the dark.
Yeah.
It's how to get over your fears, isn't it? It's to confront them.
Wow.
So I've done that. Here, I sit out at night. Now, you've got to remember, I'm on top of a mountain, right? And all you can see is the stars in it. So at night, you turn all the lights off, and I've got a little telly outside, and I watch the telly and have a drink outside. Because I'm here on my own at the moment. Don't tell no one, no. It comes up and robs me. But I sit outside, and it's lovely. I mean, you just can't. All you hear is wild animals. You know?
Wow. What wild animals?
Obviously, I've got a great big bat with me and all that. So
But you know what, Ray? I went to Portugal. When we was in lockdown, I went out there to do a CBD documentary. It was. So we flew out there and we stayed at someone's villa, and it was right at the top of the mountain in Portugal. This was. Yeah. And at night, it was. You could hear the silence. Does that make sense?
No, it does. And it's something.
Silence. It was something like, oh, it was magical, man. It was crazy. We were so far up. It was like I've never experienced that before.
Do you know what? Saying that it's a deafening sound, silence, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I remember walking out on Ilkley Moor when I was up in Yorkshire working years ago, and I walked right out in the middle of the moor, and I came to this kind of ledge, you know, where it was a cliff, and it dropped down a bit, you know, and I sat down there and I just listened, and it was nothing. Yeah, just heard the wind and blowing. Ooh, it was a bit spooky, you know, and I looked down the bottom of this cliff, and down the bottom was a claret and blue scarf. This is gospel truth, right? And I thought, I've got to have it, haven't I? So I climbed, it's like stupid, really. I climbed all the way down this cliff face. Took me about half an hour, you know, because I was a bit bottly. Got down at the bottom, picked it up, it was a Burnley scarf. Now I've got to go back up the top again, haven't I?
Mate, I used to get that sound when I was doing a ring walk, you know, Ray.
Yeah,
definitely silence like that. You can hear the silence.
Yeah, that's concentration that keeps you in a good space.
That used to happen in my ring walks.
What? So all the crowds there, but you just can't hear him. He just got zoned out. Is that what it was?
It just didn't make any noise.
He didn't care. It's him again.
Just no one there, Jake.
All looking at their phones and all that.
Yeah. I don't think phones were around then, if I'm honest.
No, they weren't around.
I don't think there was.
Yeah.
No.
Man.
No.
So how's life, Ray? How's life in general? You good? You working?
Yeah, it's good. I've been doing a bit of labouring out here, a bit of graft, because I hurt my back a couple of years ago, as you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I've been building my back up a little bit. And I thought, I gave up smoking about 5 or 6 months ago.
Did you?
I
stopped
smoking.
Wow.
One day I just bought a packet of cigarettes and I went and I lit one up. I thought, what am I doing? I don't even enjoy this. And I stopped. I just threw them up, threw them away. And it ain't been a problem. You know, it's been all right. And I feel so much better for it, to be honest with you.
You were a proper smoker, Ray.
Yeah, no, I loved an oily, didn't I? Yeah.
How many years were you smoking? You must have been smoking what?
Well, I didn't smoke when I boxed. So I started smoking on a film in about 1979, I think it was. I just got married. Maybe getting married has got something to do with it. I don't know, but you ain't hear me say that. But I had a change of smoke in a film with the Sex Pistols, the Clash, and we were working in Vancouver. And that's where I started smoking, really. And it's funny because I bum suck them, you know. I never really took them down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a cigar,
I wasn't a proper smoker in a way. Yeah, a bit like a cigar smoker.
Ray, you touched on that there. You started smoking there when you went from boxing to acting. When was that transition, Ray? Because you used to box. Let's go back a little bit. You used to box for Repton back in the day. You had 80 odd fights for Repton, didn't you? You boxed as well.
Yeah, well, I did. Yeah, a level, you know.
Yeah. But did you ever have dreams of boxing, or was it? Did you always know you was going to go into acting? When was that transition?
No, I was. I think where you come from, it's an area where you come from. Same for you, really. You know, some people play football and you know talk about girls, and we boxed. We went boxing. You come out the East End, it's usually the way you do it. So I actually moved out the East End, and my first club was New Enterprise in Tottenham.
Yeah.
There, and then I went to one out near Enfield Boxing Club, and then I went to Repton, and I was about 11 or 12, I guess, when I went to Repton. So I boxed as a junior, and then you know turned senior at 17. You know,
Yeah.
so you know it was quite a few years I was boxing anyway. You know, and enjoyed every month, enjoyed the life, enjoyed being around the people who are connected with boxing. You know.
Yeah.
They were breeding their own. You know, they're different class people. I think, Spence.
But,
you know.
Yeah, I agree with that, Ray. It's like its own little family, isn't it? Its own little world. Boxing. It's like
You know, whatever level you're at, whether you're a world champion or you're a novice, you know, you have respect.
Do you know what I love about the boxing, Ray? What I love about the boxing is that everyone walks to the door, they drop their luggage at the door, and they go in, and everyone's treated as an equal. We talked about this actually on last week's podcast that we done with Fraser Clark. He was talking about how everyone goes in there, you get the equal amount of respect, and it don't matter if you're a geezer that's a labourer on a building site, or you're an actor, or doesn't matter where you come from, a multimillionaire. Everyone's treated with the same, and they get taught those same life skills, which is so important.
Absolutely, and their life skills, I think, they stay with you for the rest of your life. You know, it certainly made the man I am today. You know, the good parts of it, anyway. Not the bad parts. There's a few of them, you know.
Listen, how did you get into what was your first acting role, Ray? How did that happen? Like, you gone from your boxing. Tell us the transition. How you?
Well, I was just at normal school, comprehensive school in North London, because we moved out, as I said. And there was a girl in a play that I fancied. You know, when I was at school. So I went. That's usually the way, isn't it? And so I went along to be in this school play. It was called Emmy and the Detectives. And, you know, I've done all right. You know, I got some laughs and all that. And I think my mum and dad looked at it and went, oh, that's a way to keep him out off the streets, you know, something like that. And they asked me if I wanted to do that and pursue it. And I went, yeah, I couldn't think of anything else I was going to do, you know. And at the time, I think it was something like 900 quid a term. And my mum and dad found the money for me to actually go to a drama college, you know, which I lost for the year. And while I was doing that, I got the part. I'd done one or two other little things. You were allowed to go out as an extra and learn the game a little bit, which was a great thing. The day I got picked out of drama school is the day I got the role in Scum. So it's funny how things happen, you know. Maybe if I hadn't been kicked out of drama school that day, I wouldn't have gone to the BBC with the other guys and met the director and got the part, you know, and we wouldn't be talking now. You know, it's funny how fate works sometimes, you know, because I never thought I'd ever be an actor, to be honest with you. You know, it was, I wasn't cut from that mould, you know, and it's something that you know yourself, that you learn on the job, really. I mean, EastEnders is a great school for fucking acting. You're there all the time. You know, it's full on. And it, Jake, you know, and it's almost like years ago when I used to do a rep, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly that, Ray. You're busy, aren't you? Working all the time. You just fucking...
Yeah. And you learn from other actors. You learn from the directors you're working with. You know, different people. I mean, Alan Clark was a great teacher to me, you know, and there's things that I learned from Alan Clark that I still use today, you know. And
what sort of things, Ray? What sort of what sort of advice did he give you? What kind of... How did
it was just, do you know what? It wasn't so much advice. It was just the way that I like to be talked to, you know, and I think that goes back to boxing, what we were saying earlier on with Spence about the respect side of it and the nurturing of it, you know, being told off at the right time and then, you know, just having a quiet whisper in someone's ear. Clarkey was great at that. He was a great manipulator, you know. You'd end up doing things in the scene that you didn't think he was capable of doing because the respect you had for him. You know, you didn't want to let him down so much. And let's face it, I had no idea what acting was all about when I started. I probably still don't today, but you know, it's that freshness. And also, it kind of held me up a little bit as well because I was all into it. I had to believe it, you know. It had to be real and all that. But there's certain genres in the job that we do, Jake, that it calls for something else, for another performance, for a different performance, you know, which took me quite a long time to learn and to break away from that kind of advice, you know.
Ray, I was going to ask a question. Like, you was boxing, you know, at a good level as an amateur, and you had a lot of fights, like I say, 80 odd fights as an amateur. You traveled.
I won one, you know, I won one, Spence.
No one told me about that, Ray. I didn't want to get into that.
Yeah.
No, you won most of them, didn't you? What did you have, like 180 or something like that?
180 of them,
Yeah, incredible.
And I was robbed on the other 8 and all. I've got to be honest.
We all are, mate. Don't worry. Yeah, even the one that I got stopped on, I was robbed. Yeah.
Yeah, I done the Liberty, wasn't it?
But did the boxing help you in any way? Give you the confidence that you needed going into the transition of acting?
Absolutely. You know, you're entering a new world, a different world of people, and probably in a business that, for me, I didn't feel I was a part of. So you kind of get, you know, it's like getting into the ring. When you get into the ring, you look across the ring at that man, and you know at that point you can beat him or not, right?
Yeah.
You can look in his eyes and you can go, I can't beat this guy. But you got to dig deep and find a way, you know? And it was the same sort of thing walking into a rehearsal room with actors and directors, educated people, and you see them, you know, and you take a deep breath, you stick your chest there and you walk in like you should be there. You know, and that's the kind of mentality that I kind of took from boxing, you know. Best form of defense, Spence.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you own it, like you say, Ray.
Yeah, attack. You go forward.
Fights are
You
won
get
and
beaten
lost.
on the ropes, you've got to go forward, don't you?
That's right. Fights are won and lost. Even when you're an amateur, fights are won and lost when you first take that look at them and you think, I've fucking got him here. He don't fancy this, because you can tell the eyes tell the story, don't they?
Absolutely. I remember my first senior bout, right? It was down in, I think, Crawley somewhere. It was Alaminta territory, you know?
Yeah.
And, 17. And then when I was 17, I got to, I didn't have an hair on my legs, you know? I looked like I was about 12, you know?
I'm not going to ask you about your bollocks then. We'll leave that.
Don't even go there. Right. And I looked in the ring, and there's a geezer on the other side of the ropes, like in the corner. He had the hairiest leg. He looked like a tarantula, this geezer, right? And he was covered in tattoos. I tell you, my arsehole fell out. I thought, this is the man. This is the man. I'm a boy, you know what I mean? Anyway, I lost the first round, and I thought, fuck this, you know. And I actually boxed so well the second round, and I humbled him. I'd done him in the third round. Yeah, but you have to just dig that little bit deeper, you know?
I'm glad you told me that story, right? Because I had the same thing, 17 years of age. I won everything as a junior, fucking schools, ABAs, all of that, junior ABAs, represented the country. And I had my first fight as a senior, and I'm coming up against a kid, right? This is a great story. Was boxing down in Oxford, and the kid's taken the bout, and he's like 2-0. Now, I've had like fucking 80 odd fights by this time, something like that. It's like traveling everywhere. He must have some amateur, junior experience that we don't know about, but no one said anything. So we get down there, and the same thing happened. He said, "Oh no, we just put him in. We fancy him a little bit. He's only had 2 fights, no junior experience. But they're trying to pull one here." And when I see the geese, we go to the scales. You know, the first time we go to the scales, same thing. He was fucking covered in hair and tattoos. Jake, he was like, I don't know, 28, 29-year-old man. But when you're a 17-year-old kid,
it's intimidating, isn't it?
Yeah, you're not developed, and he fucking like he's developed. He can't be my weight, this geezer, and he's cut. And the tattoos done me, Ray. If I'm not gonna. And it went out there, and it turned out that he was as good as his record said. He had 2 bouts. He was fucking useless. I knocked him out in 2 rounds.
Do you know what? I boxed a kid in Canterbury. I went down to Canterbury. You know, when we used to go out, and there'd be reps to the Fitzroy Lodge going on a bus, you know, on a coach. Yeah. And laugh like they were like friendly clubs, you know, with one another. Mickey Carney and Tony Burns.
What lovely people.
Two of the best men you could ever have. You know what I mean? Anyway, I go down to Canterbury, and I'm boxing one and other. You know, A and other. You know, you never know what you're going to get there, do you?
Yeah.
So anyway, this kid's come. He's got pencils on. He's got a pair of like old white football shorts on, right? He's got no front teeth and a broken otter. I want all night long, that do me. Right. Anyway, we've got in the ring and he's come out, he's a gypsy kid, you know? They're like the game is a Bible, isn't they? So, and I'm going ping, ping, ping. I'm walking around him, it's lovely, it's all night long. I ain't even got to hurt this kid, all I've got to do is box, you know, ping, 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 ping. All of a sudden I got clever, didn't I? I went, dropped a right hand on him, he's gone on the penny, the geezer, I thought, good night, lights out, see you, mate. He's got up and gone like a raving lunatic. He's trying to bite me without the gum shield in, right? He beat me up the bollocks. And oh, mate, it turned out to be the hardest fight I've ever had in my life.
It's that old saying, don't judge a book by its cover.
Oh, dear me, he was an animal.
When you're going in to box someone, right, because you come across all sorts. They're tall, they're skinny, short and stocky. Some have got broken noses, some of them are good looking, but the ones that fear you are the ones that are covered in tattoos. His nose is over there. He's got scars everywhere. And if you break it down and think about it, you go, well, he can't be any fucking good because he's denied it.
No, he's the one you want.
Yeah.
And the good-looking kid who looks mid and they've got a mark on him, you don't want him.
No, exactly
he moves his head. He's all right.
Oh, funny, brilliant.
Yeah. What's the hardest fight you had then, Ray? What was the toughest fight you had over the years?
Oh, that one.
Really?
Oh my God, yeah. I couldn't get out of bed in the morning.
Really?
But I won the fight. Yeah. But I felt like I lost the war. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Did that take anything out of you? As in that sort of told you, like, listen, boxing ain't for me. I need to find something else.
No, it wasn't that saying. What he told me was, when you're skating a fight and you're boxing beautifully, don't change. Don't change. Don't try and do something different. You're it's nice and comfortable because you're ready then for the next fight. Yeah. You know, if you want to have a war every time you go out there, that was never my game. I was a counter puncher, you know.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, isn't it? It's the old saying. I mean, what advice would you give any boxers, Ray, like going out there, like young kids that are coming through or whatever, like?
Yeah. Become an actor.
Huh?
Listen, Spence, it's in you. If you're going to be a fighter, it's not just a natural ability. You got to train at it. It's not just the fight we see them have. It's the hours and the minutes that they put in a gym. You know, it's living and breathing it. You know, I was never good enough or ready enough to do that. You know, you know yourself. You know, you boxed at a really, really high level. And to be at that high level, you know what you got to put into it.
Yeah, the commitments, like I'm saying, that's what people don't see. They're like the casual fan sees two blokes getting in the ring and having a tear up. But as you know, Ray, like to do it at any sort of level, you're running at 6 a.m, you go and have your breakfast, you're back down the gym, you go and have a sleep, you're back down the gym, you're sparring, and it's like eat, sleep, repeat. And it's just like, it's grueling, man. It's taxing, it's hard. And that's why I think with boxers, when they finish boxing and they've lost their identity as a boxer, they struggle to fit in as a normal civilian into normal life because of the discipline that they've committed. That people don't realize it is a whole lifetime. Like it's like your life doesn't revolve around boxing, doesn't revolve around your life. Your life revolves around boxing, and that's what boxers do. Absolutely, that's why they struggle so much with life after the sport. You know,
I saw a great quote from Frankie Dettori. He had his last Royal Ascot, didn't he, this week? And he said, Spence, I think about a week ago, he's been interviewed, and he said a sportsman dies twice. I thought that was a bang on the nose, that because they die once when they retire, and then obviously. Yeah.
Do you know he done me like a kipper once, Frankie Dettori? Well, I was in Australia. I was working in Australia and I had the weekend off and I went down to see the Melbourne Cup.
Oh, yeah.
Frankie was there and I spoke to Frankie on the phone. He just had a big win out in America, you know, one of the big meetings out. I can't remember what it was now. Anyway, he's on one of the favourites. Now, I ain't seen the race. I don't know a jockey in Australia. I don't know an horse or anything. So I'm having a drink. It's a big party going on in the VIP bit, so I'm in there giving it large and doing what I do. And I'm having a bet, and I'm winning. By the time the big race comes, I'm $5 up, Australian dollars, by the way, which is about a third of what we get. But anyway, I'm about $5 up. So I went, oh, this is lovely, right? So Frankie, I spoke to Frankie. He said, yeah, I fancy this today. I really fancy this today. The big don't So me legging, right, the 5 grand on Frankie, right? The race goes off. Here we go, right, off. He wasn't mentioned once. Not once, right? Listen to this. Look. A Japanese horse with a Japanese jockey won the race. When it crossed the line, you could have heard a pin drop.
Oh no!
They weren't having a Japanese geezer winning the race.
Well, you know what?
I spoke to Frankie since.
Well, I had the same thing with him in his last race here at 5 o'clock at Ascot on the last day there. He was on a horse that was 20 to 1, Jake. I
Yeah, he come in about he come in last, didn't he? I think.
Fucking rock bottom. So it's 21, and you'd sort of like you're putting it all together and thinking, oh, it's his big moment. He's got to be on the winner because it went from 20 to 1 down to 8 to 1.
Yeah,
when it went from 20 to 8, I lumped on it more because I thought and when it was running, I'm saying to Nicola, have you heard of that horse yet? She went, no, nothing's happening here, mate. I don't even know if it's running, Spence. I had to check to see if it was a non-runner.
It's still running.
Still out there.
Oh, yeah. One or the other.
You talk about the commitment, like for boxers and all that. Like I met Frankie a couple of years ago, and he was in a box at the Arsenal, and they brought out and they brought out these they brought out the sausage rolls, didn't they?
Yeah, I was with you. Yeah,
tucking in, and I said, "Do you want a sausage roll, Frankie?" He went, "Nah." He said, "I'd love to have a sausage roll." He said, "I haven't had a sausage roll in 20 years." I'm thinking, now, like,
well, that's commitment. You see, because he's got money weight.
Do you know what? Piers Morgan was in the box as well, Jake, wasn't he? And I remember it was January, and I was doing dry January, right, Ray? Yeah. And so I was doing this dry January, and it was, I don't know, January 15th, 16th, and I'm finding it hard by then. I've gone 2 weeks dry, and it's like, stuck in a bit of an achievement for me. And so anyway, we're in the box and Piers goes, do you want a beer? And I went, no, I'm right, I'm doing dry January. He went, why are you doing that? You got a drink problem? I went, no, just doing dry January. He went, well, let me give you another scenario. He goes like, so you do dry January, you want to drink, don't you? I went, yeah, I want to drink. He said, well, you're doing dry January. You get to January the 31st, you think, yeah, I've nearly done it. I've nearly achieved it. He says, you walk out the road, you get hit by a bus, bang, you're gone. He said, you spent the last month of your life doing something you didn't really want to do. I went, give us that beer. Give us that. That was that day, Jake, as well.
That day,
yeah. I'll give you that day.
I'll come home after this. Nicholas said, I thought you was doing dry January. I went, well, listen, anything can happen. You get hit by a bus or anything, no point.
That's it.
Yeah.
So listen, Ray, what's happening work-wise? You've been busy. You've been out and about.
I've been doing a bit of restoration work. As I said out here. Yeah. There's a writer's strike on at the moment, isn't there? So that's affecting a hell of a lot of stuff at the moment in my game. You know. Yeah. So there's a bit of that going, and just having a bit of time off because, Jake, you know, you work and you work and you work, and you just run out of ideas, kid, don't you? You just need to step back a little bit sometimes, and if you're lucky enough, someone to come along with something that you want to do, you know, and hopefully that happens. But at the moment, I'm just enjoying being lazy, you know.
Happy day.
It's lovely though, isn't it?
I mean, you know, me and Gary have got the sports thing going and all that, which is great. You know, it's coming along lovely. So yeah, I'm absolutely fine.
Tell our listeners about that, Ray, because not many people might know you got this sports management company, Integral Sports Management.
Integral Sports, yeah.
What was the idea behind it? How did it sort of come about?
Well, it started off because Gary's boy's a young footballer, and we saw all these kids, you know. We were over West Ham one day, and there's maybe, I don't know, 30, 35 kids, and maybe one or two of them are kept on, you know. Yeah. And you look at it and you think, well, they've all got to be good to be here. And what do these kids go and do? Where do they go when they get a blank? Because it's just a letter. There's nothing helping them move on somewhere else, unless they've got a mum and dad, you know, who knows someone in the game, you know. And so we had an idea about starting that. That was about 4 or 5 years ago, and we knew it would take us 4 or 5 years to actually get the thing off the ground properly. And with a stable of kids, now we've got a stable of young players. We've got, I think, about 21 young internationals, you know, who've all come from that side of it, you know, where we want them to come from. We've now got golfers, we've got tennis players, we've got jockeys, and we've got ladies footballers.
Right? Like grassroots stuff, like developing the kids, like in whatever.
Yeah. Listen, a new agency ain't going to start signing Declan Rice and all that, you know. So you got to look at it and say, well, who's going to come to us? We're not tried and trusted, you know. So we started at grassroots because that's where we wanted to be. And lucky enough, me and Gary, you know, we're comfortable enough to be able not to worry about building a business up on the money side of it,
Yeah.
just actually create young players, young good players who really are interested. Like Spence was saying about, you've got to have your heart and soul in it. You know, you might have the talent, but you've got to work at that. It ain't just talent alone at the end of the day. And a lot of it is like everything in the world. Someone says someone's a bad player, but someone else will look at them and go, well, he ain't a bad player, he's a really good player. It's a matter of opinion a lot of the times, you know. And so we move that opinion on and, you know, we place them in different things. Or if they're not going to make it, if they don't want to carry on with their career, we want to place them in something they want to do. So they're just going back. It's like your dreams over at the age of 17, and that shouldn't be the way, you know, it shouldn't be the way things.
That's tough on the old mental health, that, isn't it? But it's like you say there, I think that it's passion carries you a long way in life. Whatever you want to achieve, if you're passionate about it, that gives you a massive head start, you know, when you go in there.
If you've got that passion, but you know, when that door opens, Spence, and you get that chance, you've got to take it with both hands. You know, you can't let it go by. You've got to dive in head first, because if you don't, you won't get another chance.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Well, you know exactly what that's like, Spence. When you know, after your injury, you couldn't box again. You were a young man. It's sort of like, you know, when everything gets ripped out from underneath you, it's very difficult to know where to go, isn't it? And
that's what I was talking about the identity thing, Jake. When you lose your identity as a boxer and you become a normal civilian, and you committed your whole life to it. Although I was only a 23-year-old kid then, I'd started when I was 7, so I didn't know what life was all about, what I was going to do, what direction you're going to take. It's like fucking, it's a really tough thing, and it's like, it's hard to find the right ground. You know what I mean? It's like to go from you. Like I was very fortunate that I wrote to the head of Sky at the time, who was Vic Wakelin, the late Vic Wakelin, who was a great guy. He used to be the head of Sky, and he gave me that opportunity. I said to him, look, Vic, I'm so passionate. I'm a great advert for the sport. You know what I've been through, what I've come through, and I still want to give back to the sport a little bit. And that was fucking 25 years ago, and I'm still there.
Well, it's a great example of a door opening and you grabbing it with both hands. You know?
That's what you were saying, Ray. Yeah, about, you know, you got to grab it by the bollocks, and you know, and you have to do that. And I've dodged a lot of bullets since then. Trust me, fucking hell, been on the edge of the cliff a few times, mate, and just managed to slip. Slide.
Well, I've got a couple coming for you. Don't
That's why I'm worried of coming out of Sicily, mate, because you live on the top of that.
I'll look after you.
Listen, you get up on the top of that mountain in Sicily, mate, anything can happen. You can go anywhere. No one would ever find you.
You better believe it, Spence.
I think it might be quite eerie walking around up there, right?
No, you love it. Don't worry about it.
I tell you what, it's a fantastic place you got out there. We've done a FaceTime, didn't we? I think it was actually last summer. I asked you actually last summer to come on. You had a problem with Geezer with the Wi-Fi was not coming.
My Wi-Fi now is fabulous.
Yeah, it's great.
Do you know the excuse there? When the Wi-Fi went down, everyone blamed it on Putin. You know, because Ukraine, the big tower in the Ukraine got done.
All right.
First went off, and our Wi-Fi, everything here went up in the air. But it's
really
silly, isn't it? You know, they blame anything on everyone else. So, man, in the end, came in. He's found the result, and now it's touch wood. It's
flawless.
Well, we done one, didn't we? Try and do one. We did try to do one about
it. Do you remember? And it all went pear-shaped.
I thought I didn't know if you had a bit of music going on in the back.
It reminded me when I was boxing again.
Oh, brilliant.
So, Ray, I saw Jamie as well just quickly in 222. She's amazing.
Oh, you did. You told me. Yeah, fantastic. I loved it. What a show it is, eh?
Yeah, it's a great show, isn't it? Yeah, I've done it twice now. It's so much fun.
I know you loved it and all, but do you know what I love about it? It's if all theatre was like that, you'd go every week. Jake,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, you know, it was fantastic. Performances are fantastic, but the story gets you. It's an emotional journey, right?
Yeah.
You cry, you laugh, and it scares the shit out of you at a moment. But you don't get it, do you? You don't get it.
Yeah. I didn't get it until the last sentence was said, and I went, "No, I can't believe that."
I'm surprised you got it at all.
No, Ray. It was the geezer next to me. Went, "No, back." It was the geezer next to me. He said that, and I went, "Fuck it!" I started.
Don't give it away.
I say too much. You must be proud, though, Ray.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's terrific. really terrific.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
I saw her after.
Yeah.
I think she's enjoying it, isn't she? So yeah,
She is. I mean, listen, it's great for her as well. We were going back to, that's a responsibility, that turning up every day. Some shows you do two a day, you know what it's like.
yeah, it's hard graft that, right? Yeah.
It's hard graft, you know, and she's there till September. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's the thing. That's especially having little Raymond and all, you know, coming home to that and all the business you have to do. So, yeah, but that's the path she's chosen, and you know, and she's enjoying it. And I think it'll be a great education for her to do it. You know.
Yeah, yeah, she's brilliant in it, Ray. She's brilliant.
Yeah. Thank God someone in the family can act.
Ray, what's the best film you've ever done?
Oh,
One you enjoyed?
I've done a few. I really liked, and it's not known as a really good film, but I love 44-inch Chest.
Right.
It's just the dialogue of it, and Sexy Beast, same writers. Another great film, great writing, you know, and direction and everything. I loved, and working with the actors we were working with. I guess so, you know. But I'd miss some films out, you know, and you forget about them and then you go, I wish I'd have said that. But I've enjoyed most of the films I've done.
Who inspired you the most?
Inspires me the most.
Like when you was younger, when you first got into acting, who did you sort of like for me, like say my boxing idol, my hero was Marvin Hagler.
Yeah, Albert Finney's, Burton, Richard Burton, you know. I'm a great lover of the old British actors, you know. But then again, you could turn around and say James Cagney, you know, John Wayne, Gregory Peck, you know, they were fine film actors. But when you look at Burton and you look at Albert Finney's and Richard Harris, you know, they changed it. Something happened around the 60s, you know, where we were making films about us. Yeah. You know, it wasn't just, oh, blimey, governor. It was, you know, kitchen sink dramas, they called them, if you like, you know, like John Osborne plays, Look Back in Anger, Saturday Night, Sunday Morning, you know, the Sporting Life. You know, they were starting to make films about, you know, whether you came from Coventry, Liverpool, Manchester, London, it didn't matter, but they were about working class people and written about by people who understood working class people, you know, instead of us just being the character in the back smoking a fag with a cap on, you know. That kind of inspired me, I guess, to think that maybe I could become an actor, you know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to work with Albert Finney, Ray? Did you ever work with him? Did you ever get to work with Albert Finney?
I got a job when I was at drama school. It's a good story, this actually. I got a job in the wardrobe department of the National Theatre, right? So it paid for me way to work and all that. I was the only straight one in the costume department. That was an eye opener, I've got to tell you. And my job was looking after Albert Finney.
Wow, bloody hell.
Yeah, I looked after him and Michael Keaton and Patrick Monkton. There were a couple of other actors I looked after. And there's a story where he was doing Hamlet. You know, I'm a young kid. I'm 17 years of age, you know. So
what was your job, Ray? What, getting the costumes ready?
Yeah, making sure his stuff was laid out for him anyway. I'm waiting for him. It's the mad scene when he comes up and Susan Fleetwood's come off before and she's got my hand and I've, you know, put it on her heart. My heart's beating like a... all right, Albert comes off stage. He's getting ready to go on to do his other number. And I went, how's it going, Albert? And he went, it's going well, work, mate, Raymond. I went, that's lovely. And we started having a chat. And he missed his call. That's the worst thing you can do is talk to an actor when they're prepared to go on. I didn't. So I'm having a rabbit with him, aren't I? Anyway, he's gone on, missed the call, and he's a fine actor, he's made that right. I fucked off. I went in the Old Vic, there's a pub next to the Old Vic, you know, and I was in there, I was in the slop shop having a drink. You know? I fucked this right up, right? Anyway, I went down the other end of the bar and he's walked in the door. He's obviously looking for me. I went, and I've ducked. Right? And he's walked down the bar and I'm crawling between the stalls at the bar. And I think I've got by him. And as I come up, he's standing there looking at me. He went, you cunt. Yeah. And years later, when I was doing a film called The Proposition, which is another film I love doing with John Elko, his son, Albert's son, was the camera operator on it.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, so we were telling stories. I was telling him stories about his dad, you know, when
Wow.
we worked there. So it was great meeting him, you know.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Are you allowed to tell that story, Ray, of Mike Lee when you went for that meeting with Mike
No,
Lee?
I better not, eh? I better, I better not. You know, water under the bridge, Jay.
All right, sorry. Maybe we'll cut that out then, Ray.
Some things have to be spoken about off camera. Yeah, I get it.
That's one. It's one of my favourite stories.
I know. Mark Wingate was the best one with that, wasn't he?
Oh,
I'll tell you anyway. So I went up for a Mike Lee thing. This is around about the time of Scum and all that. And I didn't know the rules. I didn't know how you talk to directors and people like that. And he started asking me about my dad. He said, I said, my dad's name's Raymond, like mine, you know. And he started asking a bit more personal. I said, the fuck are you asking me about my dad? What's my dad got to do with anything? You don't know my dad, and you ain't gonna know my dad. You know, it's none of your business. I thought it was like old Bill, you know what I mean, mate? Anyway, so he really pissed me off, and he said, I want you to be this character. So I went, all right, okay. So I got up and walked out, and I fucked off. Anyway, he came back to the drama. So I wanted to fuck off, so he did, right? And that was that. So I never got that part. But Marky Wingate, who's another actor we know, you know, we've done Quadrophenia with, he went into the same thing because he's a young actor as well. I suppose he had the same thing as me. And his character picked up a chair and threw it through the window.
yeah. He
never got the part either. I mean, what do you want? You want us to shock you, you know what I mean? But you don't have consequences of it. So
yeah, didn't he say come back in the room and shock me or something? And then you just
but I didn't go back in, you know.
Yeah. Didn't your agent call you and say where are you going and all that? And he said, we were asking me, was he fucking shocked? So
Sorry, I don't know.
Brilliant.
I wish I'd have done what Mark Wingate done. He threw the chair through the window, which I thought.
Yeah, didn't he get the nickname Damage after that, Ray? He was called Damage, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
He should have got the part after that, shouldn't he? Smashing the room.
Well, there you go. There you go. So what's the point?
Exactly.
That's it. Brilliant.
Oh, so good.
Brilliant.
Ray, well, listen, thanks so much for your time, man. And yeah,
I've enjoyed it, chaps. It's always good talking to you two anyway. I miss you out here anyway. Jake,
we'll come and see you, Ray. We'll come out.
You come out whenever you like.
We had such a good time out there a few years ago, Jake, didn't we? It was unreal. I don't think I think you just come back, Ray, when we come out there. Actually,
I went on a little boat trip with Jake. I know that we did, didn't we? We done a few things with the families together and all that kind of stuff.
Lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah, you was going to come out, weren't you? And you got cancelled or something. I don't know what happened with you, Spence.
I don't know what happened. I come out there once. I've done the one, and I know I missed the crossover with you, so I come out there.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably heard you was coming. I thought,
that's what I think. I think that's what happened. You was meant to be there, and I think you fucked off on a plane somewhere, and no one knew where you'd gone.
It's going to bring down the tone of the race.
But we'd love that, Ray. We'd love to get out there and.
You've got an open invitation, chaps.
I love you, Ray. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for coming on, giving us your time. Now you can fuck off back around the pool and sunbathe, I suppose.
Bit of Mangiati now.
Beautiful, Ray.
I love you, mate.
Yeah.
See you later. Ciao, ciao. Keep punching.
Yeah, cheers, buddy.